I have reviews and essays in the works, fret not, but there's something I wanted to talk about. A few weeks ago, Ashley Judd came out with sexual assault allegations against Harvey Weinstein from an incident that occurred years ago. And this domino set in motion a whole string of women coming out about past experiences, events these women had to keep secret for years, afraid of the repercussions that would come with exposing Weinstein. After years of repression, the dam burst, and these victims were finally able to come forward. It began with Weinstein, but it soon spread to Kevin Spacey, who allegedly advanced sexually toward a 14-year-old Anthony Rapp back in the 80s, as well as several other people since. And now Louis C.K., Dustin Hoffman, Andrew Kreisberg, and several other big names in Hollywood are all under the microscope. This isn't a new occurrence though. In the past we've seen Roman Polanski under heavy scrutiny, and Woody Allen has been trying to convince us for years that he didn't molest his adopted daughter. I generally like to avoid discussing politics in these videos, but this is a pertinent issue that's relevant to my content. And let me just state right now, before I say anything else that could be misinterpreted, that all of these men deserve the scrutiny they are under. Their actions are inexcusable and despicable. Here's the trouble though. These people are all incredibly talented in their roles in the film industry. Kevin Spacey has filled the shoes of some of America's most iconic characters, nearly flawless in each performance. Woody Allen's films have questioned the conventions of modern filmmaking and caused us to reconsider the very guidelines of what makes a film. And Harvey Weinstein, while more a businessman than a filmmaker, is responsible for half of the films we see today. We, as an audience, are then faced with the moral dilemma of whether or not to watch the content in which these people are involved. I never thought it would come to a point where we would have to consider the ethical consequences of watching a movie. Suddenly, American Beauty, a film in which Kevin Spacey swoons over a high schooler with a subplot about repression of homosexuality, takes on a completely new meaning. Same with Manhattan, in which a 40-year-old Woody Allen is in a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old. It's impossible for these films to exist without context, because in a vacuum, they're both great films, but we can't watch, say, Annie Hall, which is in my opinion an all-time top 10 film, without thinking, ugh, that guy molested his daughter. We can't be moved by Lester Burnham's monologue without thinking, ugh, that guy tried to fuck a 14-year-old. We can't, as the saying goes, separate the man from the art, or at least not entirely, and I believe that that's because the man is so much of the art. We're not just watching a character interact with another character. We're watching an actor pour every ounce of his talents into this performance in order to interact with another actor who's doing the exact same thing. We're not just watching a beautiful sequence of events effortlessly yet meaningfully strung together on its own. We're watching a director utilize a lifetime of training and studying to create something beautiful. Let's use music as an example. The theme to Schindler's List isn't the masterpiece it is simply because it's a good song. It's the masterpiece it is because John Williams built upon the experience of every composition from his past to culminate into this one piece of music, and Itzhak Perlman channeled all of his pain from the Holocaust and his empathy with everyone else who endured the same pain into a single violin performance. When we look at Roman Polanski, or Dustin Hoffman, or Woody Allen, or Kevin Spacey, we're seeing people pouring their souls into their work, and unfortunately, those are the same souls who have committed sex crimes. That's why the separation is so difficult. And for some, it's worth separating if a piece of art means that much to you. But the other thing to consider is that sometimes art doesn't matter. As much as I hate to say it, in this instance, we're talking about human lives, and at that point, whether or not you like a movie can become obsolete. By watching these movies, we are monetarily supporting these sex offenders, and as a law-abiding citizen with a platform to speak on, I can't publicly condone torrenting. But even if one did torrent it, watching it is still a level of support that, while lacking physical repercussions, still brings ethical implications under evaluation. But if we boycott these films altogether, we're not just hurting the offenders, we're hurting all the innocent people who worked on each film. Submarine is one of the best coming-of-age films I've ever seen, directed in 2010 by Richard Ayoade. Craig Roberts has gained a very respectable career since, but whenever I see him in anything, I can't help but think of Oliver Tate in Submarine. It's a delightful little film with only the purest intentions, and if you watch the trailer, this is what you'll see. Not paying to see this film wouldn't just slow the payroll of Harvey Weinstein, you're also cutting the pay of Ayoade, Roberts, and all the other great cast and crew members who worked on the film. But you don't want to support Harvey Weinstein, the serial rapist, so what do? At this point, you're looking at me and you're thinking, Taylor, there's an Annie Hall poster right behind you, you scum. Well, yes, I do. As I mentioned before, it's one of my favorite movies, and I wanted to express my passion for it through a poster. In doing so, am I supporting Woody Allen financially? Yes. While he hasn't been officially deemed guilty, we'll assume for the moment that he is. Am I just some teenager looking to spice up his walls with posters of movies he likes? Or does my knowledge of the allegations against Woody Allen give me the responsibility to not support this movie I love? Well, I won't lie. I don't know. I have no idea. And I feel like this isn't something with a right or wrong answer, but rather something that depends on each person's individual philosophy and code of ethics. Hollywood's a fucking mess right now, and each allegation pushes my desires inch by inch away from the hills. Obviously, I'll always want to pursue film, but maybe not by the means by which I've always thought it would happen. There are too many scumbags, and even as an average cinephile who's not involved in any of this scandal, I find myself frustrated by the situation I've been put in. What I'm really hoping is that anyone watching this can provide insight of their own, because after asking all these questions, I am at a complete loss for words. Thank you.